Accordingly, I invite the honourable member for Windsor-Tecumseh for her closing 5-minute right of reply. The honourable member for Windsor-Tecumseh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I had to write down my reply because I knew if I just sat here and listened and was reactionary, that I will get choked up and I won't use my time wisely. But I have to tell you that it is very intriguing to hear so many people having the same insights. So you can imagine how gutted I was to hear the government's response in our first hour of debate, officially letting me know that my private member's bill wouldn't be supported. And sadly, Mr. Speaker, the Canadians have another opportunity to be cynical of this government with that letdown. The intent of the bill is to allow that a person living with a disability can access all 4 federal programs with one application, one process, one doctor's note. However, we want to see this roll out. It takes a bureaucratic role as well, which I mentioned in my introductory speech. Of course, this is practical. And the government's replies during debate have frankly been disturbing. We heard the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities congratulate me on being so determined to ensure that all Canadians, no matter their circumstances, have easy access to government programs and services. Yet, sums it up that it won't be supported because it isn't a practical solution. I'm well aware of the feedback given at consultations nationwide and town halls and constituency offices, roundtables and forums. That's why I'm here. Simplifying access to federal programs for persons living with disabilities is why C-348 was created. And it's a shame that these constituents haven't been heard in their ridings of the governing party. At one point, the parliamentary secretary goes on to say that streamlining the application process for these programs under a single department or portal will not make it more accessible, faster, or fair, that it would create separation between the clients and the governing agencies providing the programs and related support measures for which the clients are applying. In other words, this would put some distance between the clients and the agency's expertise. Once again, it's a shame that people have not been listening. Apparently, the parliamentary secretary would have us believe that departmental staff lack the means by which to communicate with one another, or that they lack the skills to create the proper structures through which interdepartmental communication can occur. I've toured these offices and have observed that they're all equipped with computers and telephones, and indeed do communicate with the internet and email. They even have 2 shared languages with which to communicate officially. So I have to say that the government's excuses for not supporting this bill are not plausible. If we claim to support the bill in principle, but not the bill itself, as has been expressed by the governing party, I challenge all of us to then take up this principle and make it happen with the anticipated accessibility rights legislation that was announced for next year. Really, right now, with C-348, we have a chance to tell the bureaucracy to work out a plan to achieve this goal, and we will support them in the process to that end. People who have to book handy transit 2 weeks in advance do find it onerous to apply separately for each program at the federal level. That is the reality. It's hard to imagine representatives that would not have any knowledge of this problem and vote against this bill. I can only give Canadians a heads up to watch how this vote plays out. I sincerely hope that this master application process that I've introduced is only being turned down because it will indeed be included in some sweeping legislation introduced with the new Accessibility Act. Canadians have to remain strong and vigilant on removing the barriers that persons living with disabilities face. And I'm privileged to again and again bring forward the practical solutions that maximize the resources we have today. Canada is capable of doing better with what we do have now if we are willing. Thank you.